No matter what branch you served in or what your job was, I can guarantee that you were probably taught some attention to detail. But when does attention to detail and being aware of your surroundings actually become a problem? In this video, I'm going to talk about that attention to detail that's drilled into all of our minds and how it can actually, in some situations, make you more unsafe than safe. Now, before I get started, let me tell you guys, this is not a video about me telling you that you don't need to be aware of your surroundings. I am probably the last person to tell you that. As a veteran myself, I can be caught sometimes looking around the corner or having my head on a swivel myself. The key is, when do you need to do that? And in what situations do you need to do that? Because if you find that you're doing it all the time, it may be an issue. I hear a lot of my veteran patients and a lot of my veteran buddies saying, being aware of your surroundings is not a problem. Matter of fact, the problem is civilians are not aware enough of all the threat out there. I hear you. This isn't a video about not being aware of your surroundings. I can say myself, sometimes it bothers me when I see some civilians walking around just looking at their phone and like nothing's going to happen, just walking through life. Don't they know that they can trip? Don't they know that there's somebody in front of them? Don't they know that they're about to walk in front of a bus? I've let that go, mostly. On the surface, there's nothing wrong with attention to detail or being aware of your surroundings. However, when that notch on that dial gets turned all the way up and it gets stuck there, we may have a problem. For you younger veterans or active duty, a knob is something that used to go on your radio. You actually had to turn it to either change the station or change the volume. I'm picking on you. If you're getting value out of this video, go ahead and give it a like. Or consider subscribing to my channel if you want to learn more about PTSD and mental health. Here's when being aware of your surroundings actually becomes a problem. It becomes a problem when you start to lose the mission that you're actually on because you're so wrapped up in paying attention to your surroundings. Let me give you an example. And it's an example that I use with a lot of my veterans. If you're in the combat zone and you're an operator, maybe you're an infantry guy, if all you can do is track your surroundings, if all you can do is look to the side, look down, look at the rooftop, you're probably a pretty crappy operator. Because that's what? That's actually not your mission. And most likely, that's not even your job. Your job is to do something totally different. And having that attention to detail, having that awareness of your surroundings at all times is just part of the package. And people have a problem with being aware of their surroundings when being aware of their surroundings and assessing the threat and attention to detail start to actually take over the actual mission. Let me change up the scenario and bring it back stateside. If you want to take your daughter to get some ice cream, and when you get to the ice cream stand or the ice cream parlor or whatever, all you can do is track and assess the threat. All you can do is look around, and you get so wrapped up that maybe you even end up leaving before you get ice cream. guess what? You just actually lost what was the actual mission. The actual mission was to get some ice cream for your daughter, to have a good time with your daughter. When that gets lost because you can't turn down that knob, can't turn down that attention to detail, can't turn down that assessing the threat to an appropriate level, that's when we have a problem. All right, doc, I'll buy it. But what do I do about that? I've been to Afghanistan 2 times. I've been to Iraq 3 times. I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I feel like I'll always be. Great question. 2 tips. My first tip for you is something that you've actually done before. Focus on the mission. Why are you going to do whatever you're going to do? What do you need? If you can focus on the mission, then when you start assessing the threat, when it starts getting away from the mission, you can refocus yourself back on the mission. Mind you, I never said don't be aware of your surroundings. If you go to take your daughters to get some ice cream, if you see a car speeding towards the ice cream stand, guess what? Get out of there. Attention to detail and being aware of your surroundings is drilled into the mind of every veteran. And it sticks with you. You learned to assess the threat. My next tip might seem weird and maybe even counterproductive, but I actually want you to assess the threat. I actually want you to ask yourself, how likely is whatever negative scenario that I'm thinking actually going to happen? How likely is it? And in order to do this, I want you to think about the worst possible scenario. What, doc? That's what I do all the time. Okay, I don't want to take that away from you. However, if you look at the worst scenario, I also want you to think about the best possible scenario. You have to think about both. You have to think about both the negatives and the positives to help you make your decision. But here's something that often gets left out. It's easy to think about good times or bad times, but the majority of the days that we live in our life, we forget about them. Here's the thing. Those days count too. So I want you to take those into consideration as well when you're assessing the threat. Not just when something bad happens, because we all know bad things are possible. We all know that there's bad people out there. But I want you to ask yourself, how likely is it? And in order to find out how likely it is, in order to actually assess the threat, you have to look at the good days. The days in which the sun was shining, ice cream somehow wasn't melting in the hot sun, everybody had a smile on their face. The good times. Here's something else. Also, those forgettable times. Those times when you went to go get some ice cream, it actually wasn't even that good. But nobody died. Nobody was in danger. You have to think about not just when something bad happened or when something good happened. You have to think about all the days when nothing happened. And when you factor all that in, that's how you actually assess the threat. And that's how you challenge some of those negative thoughts when you're so busy tracking. You can't decide whether you want chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. Something to think about. So that's it. If you got value out of this video, please give it a like or subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about PTSD and mental health. But more important than that, if you got value out of this video, that probably means that another veteran could get value out of this video. So before you like it, before you subscribe to my channel, I ask that you share it with them. Because at the end of the day, that's really what all this is about. One veteran trying to help another.